and you could sense its history if you tried. He looked at the sea of shoppers with contempt. They wouldn't even consider it, obsessed with the latest gadget, the newest fashions, hurrying towards the next bargain. No, the city was wasted on them. Better they stayed down here. As he fumbled in his pocket again for some of the change, a plump middle-aged man came out of the bakery and stopped beside him. "Here you go, mate." The man held out a cardboard cup and a paper bag with a smile. Mackie took them slowly, like a wary dog being offered a treat by a stranger it didn't entirely like the smell of. "Thank you." His voice was quiet, gratingly unused. He didn't have much occasion to speak these days. "It's only a pasty and some coffee, but I saw you, and, well, you looked as though you needed 'em." Mackie tucked the paper bag containing the pasty, hot and smelling delicious, into his coat pocket, lifted the cup to his lips and took a small sip. "Thanks. Good of you, mate." The man beamed. "You're welcome. Least I can do. You know there's a soup kitchen in the church over there." He gestured towards the impressive old building, standing solemnly, penned in by a busy road on one side and the railway line on the other. Mackie sipped the coffee again, allowing his gaze to wander over the church's sooty stonework. He knew about the soup kitchen, but it wouldn't hurt to let the man imagine he was helping. "Right. I mean, it's none of my business, but—" He glanced at his watch. "Well, enjoy the pasty." "Thank you. I will." Mackie raised the cardboard cup to his mouth again, his eyes following the Good Samaritan as he crossed the street and disappeared around the corner. Kind of him. Most people dropped a few coppers into his hat without making eye contact. He'd had drinks spilt before, a sandwich or two, but usually people didn't even see him. He was counting on it. The restaurant was a warren of small rooms inside an old house, in a row of similar buildings which had been sympathetically modernised. The music was discreet, the clientele prosperous. Smiling waiting staff dressed in pristine white shirts with thin black ties stepped carefully across the polished floorboards, moving with practised grace around the tables. Catherine's eyes followed one man, older than the rest, as he hurried across to greet a group of diners. He was tall and handsome, resembling a boyfriend Catherine remembered from her time at university, now a lecturer himself. She had treated him unfairly, frustrated by her own lukewarm response to his advances, not yet knowing herself well enough to understand why he would never be right for her. She glanced back at Ellie, who was pouring wine, and shook her head slightly. Ellie smiled, and Catherine was struck by how well they understood each other. Only 4 months after their awkward, embarrassing first meeting. Ellie knew if Catherine had wine, she would end the evening slumped across the table. With only half an ear on the conversation, Catherine gazed over her friend's shoulder. Set into the wall behind her was a window, the flame of a tea light in a glass vase on the sill flickering against the darkness outside. The larger panes of glass were clear, but the top two, smaller and square, were stained glass, a red and yellow sun rising against a greenish-blue sky. On a ledge outside, 2 fat grey pigeons huddled together, feathers ruffled by a slight breeze, their bright, beady eyes staring back at Catherine. A grubby yellow plastic sign on the wall above them warned CCTV cameras were in operation, while an empty ice cream tub, wedged next to the pigeons, overflowed with dripping water from a broken drain pipe above. The water ran down the brickwork beneath, a trail of green slime marking its path. The owners of the restaurant had apparently tried hard to create the right image and ambience inside their premises, while hoping no one would notice the cracks they had papered over. Glancing around at her companions, Catherine hid a smile. Who could blame them? It's what most of us do, after all. A young waiter, his red-blonde hair standing in improbable spikes, arrived at the table bearing 2 plates of food. Catherine caught Ellie's eye and consciously brought her mind back to being sociable. In this company it would be an effort, but they were Ellie's colleagues, and for her sake, Catherine would be polite. When all the food had arrived, and the wine glasses were filled again, Catherine dug her fork into her pasta, keeping her gaze on her plate. One of the reasons why she'd wanted to avoid this evening soon spoke up.